Before I get started, let me say it turns out that some people in Comicsgate are pretty thin-skinned, which is ironic because everyone is so damn fat. I talk about comics, including our own Comicsgate projects. If I mention that a first book hit a certain amount, but the sequel only hit a quarter of that amount, well, that's just news. I didn't say that it wouldn't do great when it's in its in-demand phase. I hope it does, but I'm literally just reporting the facts. The idea that someone would get their nose bent out of shape over that blows my mind. Comicsgate started with roasting comics and making fun of late crowdfunded campaigns from SJWs. Zach even invited people to roast his stuff. So my question is, when did some people in Comicsgate turn into such giant pussies? Being a pussy is a you problem. Comicsgate was founded on not being soy. If you're going to lose your temper when someone asked when the books were getting shipped, then you're in the wrong business. Just because you fly the CG flag doesn't mean that we aren't going to ask when the books are getting delivered or why the second campaign underperformed. If the first campaign hit 100,000 and the second hit 20,000, yeah, it's fair to say that severely underperformed. You need to realize that people asking questions are not the enemy. Are we just supposed to ignore these things? These are really reasonable things to mention. If the guys in SJW mainstream comics insult and disrespect customers, and the guys in Comicsgate act exactly the same way, then what's the point of Comicsgate? I talked to some people who are ex-Comicsgate. They say that the people in CG were worse to them than the SJWs ever were. Now, I'm not mentioning names here because these principles apply to everyone. But this thin-skinned Comicsgate guy was criticizing someone else's late campaign. Then someone mentioned that he still hadn't delivered his book yet. He slipped and he lost his cool a bit. He said he had the books in front of him, which was true, but that proves the guy's point. People need to get their books on time in good condition. The books sitting in your garage mean that they still haven't been shipped. If you can't take reasonable questions and some light roasting, then why are you here? I read some Indiegogo campaigns and criticized the grammar, syntax, and formatting. Pretty normal stuff. And I've done that to quite a few campaigns. And this only one creator blocked me for it, for some very mild criticism. Isn't that why we were so tired of the SJW pros in the mainstream? Because of blocking people for no reason? You're selling a product, start thinking like a salesman. Because you're also selling yourself. If people see you being a jerk to people on a live stream, they're less likely to buy your product. That isn't rocket science. That is something the SJWs don't understand, and it's why I think they're going to have a hard time if they crowdfund their comics. Because when it comes down to it, they are jerks with zero people skills. They're used to living deep in an echo chamber. Search Big Hawaiian Dick on Twitter. You're going to see SJWs posting in 2015 their support for the project. It's 2020 and there is no project. Why aren't his SJW friends saying anything? $20,000 isn't that much money. B. Claymore could start paying back the customers over the next couple of years. Bleeding Cool did an article last year about late campaigns. The reason Rich Johnston did it was so he could include Cyberfrog, which has since been delivered. I have a question. How many of those other campaigns have been delivered? Maybe Rich should do a follow-up and see if Cyberfrog was the only comic that got delivered. Except that would make EVS and Comicsgate look good, so I don't think you're going to see that article anytime soon. Anything that... Oh, whoops. Alright, so I see that Dana Schwartz is back at it again. She is the Laura Loomer of comics, but really I'm not sure she's even news. She's writing some woke comic that nobody's going to read, partially because Schwartz is a commie and partially because of the Chinese Wu Flu thing. People like Vita Ayala, Dana Schwartz, Heather Antos, Sina Grace, they're all going to be gone in a few months. Zach said that they all have the pre-Wu Flu thinking. They are radically overestimating their importance in this new business environment. Sink or swim, sell product or GTFO, and we will hire someone who wants to sell product. Just sell the hot dog. Don't lecture us on how much you hate us. In 2 weeks, the business environment has changed radically. I don't think these low sellers understand that they are dead weight, and I think they're going to get thrown overboard. Margins are going to be very tight for the next few years. I think comics will strip down their product line to the top sellers. No more Squirrel Girl, Ironheart, Black Panther, Shuri. Captain America, Captain Marvel. Take the top selling 10% and put everything else on hiatus. Anything that sells under 40,000 issues is just wasting shelf space that will need to go to better selling products, which means that all the Deadwood in comics needs to be trimmed. No, I'm not saying that all the SJW comic pros need to be tossed into a wood chipper and turned into something useful, like fertilizer. But they need to either get their numbers up or go into a new business. They have been using comics as their bully pulpit for too long. Before the Wu flu, the economy was so good that Sina could write something as bad as Ghosted in L.A. The first issue sold 6,700 copies. By number 8, it was down to 1,600. I'm assuming Sina Grace is independently wealthy because he lives in LA and isn't making much off of Ghosted. 1,600 times, say, $4 is $6,400, split between publishers, retailer, artists, and the taxman. No, that is not enough for Sina to live in LA. Comics like this are a vanity project for wealthy dilettantes. These champagne socialists like Carlos Maza who believe in rules for thee and not for me. Wu flu changes everything. Comics will still sell, but it's a much tighter ship going forward. There is no room for stuff like Ignited or any of the humanoid stuff, or like 90% of comics, really. They will all go digital, but say you have a paper comic selling 25,000 issues, it's 100,000 gross. If it goes digital, there's no way you're going to see that $100,000. People are not going to pay $4 for a PDF. I suspect those sales are going to drop off a cliff. Some soy boy was arguing with a Comicsgate guy online, whining that he'll pay $25 for a 48-page book, but not $3 for a digital floppy. Insert the meme of the blonde guy saying yes. That is accurate. The reasons behind it are irrelevant. It only matters that people don't value digital. If they offered a subscription service that was of value, then maybe they'd be able to make it work. But it would have to accurately value the comics. Stuff like Shuri Ironheart, Captain Marvel might actually be worth a dime each. So it's not worth even making them. That is what is going to happen in the post-Wu flu business environment. You will see a return to decisions based on merit. If you still want to sell vanity projects like Captain America digitally, fine. But it's going to be a part-time job because you're going to be taking home $100 a month in profit. You also see many of the far-left nut jobs have a come-to-Jesus moment and realize that they actually need to write stuff that sells. They could also crowdfund graphic novels, which they have done using Twitter as their advertising platform, but it has not been very successful. They need to get on YouTube to not only reach, but capture an audience. For a known name in comics to get 10,000 Twitter followers is nothing. Clicking like on a tweet takes a second. There is no investment of time. YouTube will tell you the harsh reality. If you give people what they want, they will watch and comment. If you don't, they won't. Ron Marz, BK Moore, and the rest would struggle on YouTube. Gail Simone has a YouTube channel, but 90% of her audience is just there to laugh at her. The guys in Comicsgate with 10,000 plus subs have accomplished something extraordinary. They're giving people what they want. Yeah, YouTube is a brutal environment. I make good videos, I get people subscribe, and when I make bad videos, people unsubscribe. That's just the harsh reality of YouTube that you don't see on Twitter. So she has almost 2,000 followers on Twitter, YouTube, and she got them all. What is she doing? Why are you clapping your hands? That is okay. She got them all at once because of who she is, and 90% of her comments are, "What are you doing, Gail?" Okay, so is this marked as a children's channel? She talks to her audience like they're preschoolers. Yeah, someone said something like, you got to realize your audience is 30 to 40-year-old, mostly dude. Okay, Gail, you're doing this so wrong. You write for 30 to 40-year-olds. Why are you talking to them like they're 6 years old? How about doing something useful and try to save the industry you helped destroy instead of making idiotic YouTube videos? At least she's not deleting comments. I don't know if she's blocking people, but I said something nice. I welcomed her to YouTube, and I said, hey, you should start doing some live streams with some Comicsgate people. And I know some people, if you're an SGW, you say, oh, that's an attack. No, I mean that. If you want to do a live stream, Gail, hit me up. I'll do a live stream with you. Or hit up one of the bigger channels. You get some numbers out there. There's a wide array of different personalities on YouTube. And if you think people are just going to dunk on you, no, do a live stream. What's the worst that can happen is you're going to get people in the comments. Just if you don't want to read the comments, don't read the comments. Read the super chats. But other than that, it's like the words on YouTube are not going to hurt you. It would get you more subs for your channel. It would get your voice out there. Whatever you have to say, let people hear it. Then everyone's an adult here. You can jump on probably EVS's live stream, or hell, Tug or Flash. Like they're all going to be reasonable adults with you. The people in the comments will be assholes because we're assholes in the comments. That's what we do. But I invited her on live streams. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys. If you want to send me art for the channel, Bianca Zombie 602@gmail.com. I love all the stuff you have sent so far. If you want to send me comics you want me to review, read, or just stuff you want me to take a look at, possibly edit, you can hit my P.O. box up. Otherwise, guys, I will see you all next episode.